Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Connor, and today I'm going to be going over how you can make decisions like millionaires. Let's get right into it. So, first of all, I'm going to be going over what the 99% of people are thinking when they make decisions, okay? So, there's this process called reasoning by analogy. And reasoning by analogy is essentially the common belief, what other people think, and then a previous example of it. And then that's their reasoning. And like I said, that's 99%. And so an example of that is Donald Trump's a racist. Okay, that's a statement, and your reasoning behind that is because it's a it's a common thing to think. He made a racist statement, so that's your example. Other people believe it, so that's another part of your reasoning. And then the common belief on the internet, you see all these tweets, you see all this internet shit that says Donald Trump is a racist. So at the end of the day, you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, Donald Trump is a racist," because I've seen it. Other people believe it, and I have seen an example of a racist statement that he made. So he has to be a racist. And now I'm going to show you the other way of thinking, which is called the reasoning by first principles. So this right here, this is how the 1% think. All the millionaires you can think of, this is how they make their decisions. It's called the reasoning by first principles. So as you can see, it says, if C is true, then D is true. If A and B are true, then C is true. So let's go through that idea before that Donald Trump is a racist. So how reasoning by first principles would work in that situation is Donald Trump is a racist. That's the statement that's being made. And then the way of your thinking process towards that using the reasoning by first principles could be Donald Trump is a racist. And then you analyze that you'd go through the whole process of how that statement might have been made. So you think to that first example, because there's probably an example of something that gave the first person that belief that spread to become the popular belief, and someone else that you know that starts to believe in it. So Donald Trump is a racist. So let's start off with the statement that he made, okay? So let's say said something racist, okay? The reasoning by first principles would not lead to that D, which is the end result being the idea that Donald Trump is a racist. So what you would think is Donald Trump made a racist statement. Everybody makes racist statements, and not everyone in the world is racist, so Donald Trump is not a racist. I'll go through that again and I'll explain, okay? So A would be Donald Trump made a racist statement, and then A and B are together. So A is Donald Trump did make a racist statement. B is that other people make racist statements too. And so the idea that came from that is C, which would be that other people made racist statements as well, and everyone is not a racist. So then you would get D, that Donald Trump is not a racist. And I know this may be a little bit confusing. You should definitely go back and watch the video. But rewatch the video. But once you get that dialed in and you really start to understand that, the decisions you make day by day and the judgments you make towards other people's opinions and beliefs and whether or not you want to believe in them as well is going to change tremendously. So what I encourage you to do after watching this video is go through your day-by-day life and listen to the beliefs of others and really analyze them using the idea that I just taught you, reasoning by first principles. So next time someone says, like, for example, Connor Langley's courses are a scam. You can get all the information from Connor online. Okay, and so the reasoning behind that, for example, let's use that. That's actually a really good example, okay? So reasoning by analogy, which is what the 99% do, how you would go about your belief in that is the statement, Connor Langley is a scam, all of his information can be found on the internet. So you hear that opinion, someone else said that, it might be the popular opinion, and you have an example where your example could be you found some of the information that I teach somewhere else on the internet for free. And that's very true. It's not pretty much anything you could find in any course or any sort of mentorship you can find online. But once you go through the reasoning by first principles, this is the idea that you'll get. Connor Langley is a scam. Everything you find through him is on the internet for free. So your A your A would be everything that Connor Langley shares can be found on the internet. And then your B could be everything that you can find. Okay, this is good. Okay. You can find all the supplies you need to build a house. You can find the wood, you could buy the separate parts to build electricity, you can build your toilet, you can build everything. But buying a house that someone else already built is worth more than the time it would take to actually build that house, which is the same with the internet. So you don't have to go through all the false information that you find on the internet. I would lay out everything in a way where you can just walk through it step by step, save the time, and know that what I say is true. So you would go from A, which is Connor Langley is a scam, everything can be found on the internet, and then you realize the time it would take you to actually find that information on the internet and organize through the false information would be worth less than actually buying the program that I'm selling and actually learning from me. And then C would be I can make more money during that time that it took me to find the information than if I went out and tried to learn it all on my own, going through everything else. So then D would be Connor is not a scam. And I totally understand why this might be kind of confusing. When I first came up with this with one of my mentors and learned this, it was very, very confusing. So essentially, I want to go over it one more time. So reasoning by analogy, common belief, others' belief, previous example. And then that's your reasoning. And it actually looks like this. I'll show you really quick. Common belief, others' belief, previous example, and that's your reasoning, and that's your thought pattern, okay? And then reasoning by first principles, okay? So I know it's really hard to read, but if C is true, then D is true. If A and B are true, then C is true. This is reasoning by first principles. So you go through the whole idea and how that idea may have come about, and then you organize it in a way so that you figure out what's true and what's not, and you decide whether or not the time or effort or what's worth more. So A is the idea, and then this is the decision whether or not your time or effort or whatever else is worth it. Like what's worth more, what's worth more value. And then you go to this, which is the decision, and then you go to this, which is the actual conclusion of your statement. So essentially, reasoning by analogy is just using a previous example in the common belief, and then using reasoning by first principles is mostly using deductive logic, as well as walking through the process of how that belief came about and adding in your own opinions and judgments. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'm going to be responding to the comments for the next hour, the first hour that I upload this video. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching.
Switch, rolling dishes, blowing kisses to the bitches, holding biscuits. What's the business? Beat the